Hi, welcome to the Get Strong and Healthy podcast. Thank you for being here. Today, we have a special guest on, Ethan Lardy, founder and creative director at Godsent. Ethan and I actually went to middle school together, right?
Yeah, we did.
And now we are both entrepreneurs. So thanks for coming on, Ethan. Let's start with tell us what is Godsent. Tell us a story, how it came to life, building it, etc., and we'll go from there.
Thank you so much, first off, for having me, Anna. I appreciate you. I love what you're doing too, as well. And no, I thank you so much for having me on here today. I'm pretty excited, but how Godsend started, it started from a very bad accident. Actually, that was the catalyst of it. This was back in January 4th, 2020, so about to be 3 years, and in some time and a few change. So how the brand started and how I would say not even the brand, but more of the movement got started is I fell 3 stories out of my townhouse window. So I'm not supposed to be alive right now, hence the name Godson. I thank God for everything. I really don't think I've done too much myself, but just giving him the glory, knowing that he has made this possible to be on here and to, even speak this way. But to head back to that story and the way everything started, it's a very long story, but I'll try to make it kind of brief and short. I was out the night before with a few of my friends. I was a senior in high school at the time, so you know how that was. We're having fun, and I get back into my house, and my mom was like, "Ethan, can you please help me move some stuff in the church?" Because my mom works a lot in the church, so I've always grew up in church, in faith and knowing who God was. Um, that's why I believe this is even such a bigger purpose, because I kind of already knew, but when you see something so real happen, it kind of shifts your mindset and your drive. But to make it kind of shorter, I get back up in my townhouse, and my mom wakes me up probably about like 2 hours since I've been home. So I was like, I don't want to go right now. I was kind of arguing with her a little bit. But I was like, I'm just gonna go. So I went. I helped her out with that, and then after that, my mom said, "Okay, now we have to drop your brother off at work." And I was like, I mean, not at work, excuse me, at college. He was going to a VCU at the time, and I didn't sign up for this. I had to go to work. You know how your parents be when they drag you places when you don't really have that on your agenda.
Mm-hmm.
So it was one of those days. So I was like, I can't go. Um, she was like, okay. So I didn't have my own vehicle at the time, so I had it back home in the townhouse where I'm referring to. This is where the accident happened. So they went to go drop my brother off, and this will all make sense as the story goes on. It might sound kind of crazy right now, but like I said, it's a long story. They went to drop my brother off. I went home, so it was just me in the house at the time, and I called the Uber back home. And as I was getting into my house, I saw my neighbor. Keep that in mind. It'll all make sense later. And I get up into the house the way I am. I kind of like to have everything neat and organized. So I was looking for the car keys, and my dad usually leaves it in the drawer, but it wasn't in the drawer that day. So I went over to the windowsill where his jacket was, or like where he kept his jacket kind of near. And I don't know till day if there was water on the floor, if the window was kind of open a little bit, but I slipped and then the window had broke. And at this point, I'm hanging out the window, kind of like this. And I had a few, maybe around 30 to 45 seconds to think. And I was thinking like, oh my gosh, like, no way this is real. Um, as I was hanging out the window, there was like, I can kind of see, the cuts and, I don't want to get too much into detail. I don't know who's watching, but like I saw blood all on my hand and my arms. And and as I was hanging out, my whole body wasn't out of the window, but it was like it was like my legs were still inside the house, but my torso was outside of it. So I saw a man walk in, a Spanish man. I said, "Sir, please, can you help me?" He looked at me, he kept walking. So at this point, I'm like, okay. Um, when they say you see your life flash before your eyes, you really do. So I started thinking like, wow, my parents aren't gonna know. Nobody's gonna know what really happened. But I thank God I'm here to tell the story. And I knew my neighbor was home, hence why I said when I got in the house, I knew my neighbor was there. And as soon as I tried to push myself back, I fell and I hit the concrete. But I thank God I got up somehow, only to him. and I started banging on my neighbor's door. He sat me down, and I looked right here, like you can't see it because I have a sweatshirt on, but I have a cut right here that's like 2 centimeters away from my heart, the width of your thumb. If it would have hit me, I'm not talking right now. So at the time, it was like I was looking at my heart, and I was like, there's no way. But I knew my neighbor was home. He sat me down. The ambulance came, and um, that's the accident of how Godson was born. That's the first story
Oh
of,
my gosh.
of this movement. Yeah,
That is incredible and insane.
mm-hmm.
And so that is where you got the inspiration to start your clothing brand.
Mm-hmm. So the thing about Godson's exactly what it sounds like. The way the brand came up wasn't right at that moment. As I was recovering, I had a lot of time to think and really analyze. Okay, what do I want to take from this, and how am I even going to live my life living forward from this now that I've gotten a second chance? And as I was thinking in that moment, one of my biggest thoughts was, what will people remember me by? As I was literally hanging out the window, I remember thinking that because I was playing football at the time. So I was like, nobody's really gonna, remember me for that. It's not like I wasn't the best. So I was really thinking, okay, what's my purpose here? And then January 15th, that's when actually Godson was born. I was looking at my Instagram bio at the time, and it had Godson in it, all capitals. But I didn't put it there after the accident. It was already there before. So once I saw that on January 15th, it kind of gave me the vision. Then we made the first design, and since then it's been a lot of work, but it's been blessed.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Question back from your story. Did you break any bones or anything?
Only broke my big toe.
That's it.
Yeah, only my big toe, surprisingly. Like I said, I thank God. My phone's off right now, but I will show you like a picture of how high it was. But I can send it to you if you want to put it in the podcast. But yeah, I only broke my big toe, but I know it's not really me. It's just God working through me. That's how I kind of live my life day to day.
Yeah, and the fact that this scary, horrible accident is what's led you to your like purpose, your trajectory in life is really cool. And I think how a lot of really powerful brands and movements start is from someone or a group of people having such a negative experience or a struggle or something, and then that is flipped into their mission and helping others, or creating the impact that they want to make in the world. So love it.
Like I said, it was something at the time where, and it still is something where it seems kind of fake and unreal, but it's more than true. So knowing that, you have to flip it. And I was even thinking as I was designing the brand, I was like, well, I'm not the only person who's been through something catastrophic or traumatizing, but I believe it's what you do with every situation that you're placed in. It's all how you react to it. And I think I really reacted this way to it instead of kind of internalizing it or trying to hide it. But yeah, it's definitely something negative turned into something beautiful.
Yeah, I love that. You choose how you get to respond to things and what you want to make of certain situations. Do you want to, sulk in that, or just, turn it into this negative thing and keep perpetuating that story, or use that to, drive something better for yourself? So you kind of told us how Godsent came to life. Tell us about what the journey's been like building it over the past couple of years, and we can kind of dive into entrepreneurship and the struggles, the mindset that you need for it. So yeah.
At the time, like I said, when Godson was born, it was 2020. I was a senior in high school, and I had a little football scholarship to go play somewhere in West Virginia. It was like a small school, but for me, entrepreneurship, I always knew I wanted to own my own business. I wanted to start a clothing brand, previously before this accident. So when it kind of happened, it was definitely like a full circle moment. I was like, oh, okay, like
It's
these
all
thoughts.
clicking.
Yeah, it's all clicking. It's like these thoughts, and these are a big thing I said to everyone. It's like you're having these thoughts and these visions and these things for a reason. You just kind of have to dig deeper and find that purpose. So when it came to light, I was like, okay, like there's nothing that's really gonna stop me. I think a lot of things that stops a lot of us is the fear of others, what other people are gonna think, how other people are gonna perceive you. But when that accident really has given me the strength to keep going, because it's like, okay, if it was at the worst level, it can only go up from there, and it kind of puts you in a different mindset. And I think that's another beautiful thing is all how you look at your situation, because you can be in the most negative or worst state of mind, or you don't like it, but it's kind of beautiful at the same time if you look at it, because the only way from there is up. So it's like you only have one way to go from a bad situation or a bad mindset or bad anything you're in. It's just all your perspective. But no, it's been a beautiful journey. It's been hard. It's been fun, but like I said, the challenges definitely make who you are and kind of build that strong mindset and that strong armor to keep going. But yeah.
Yeah. When you mentioned getting over the fear of what others are going to think of you or how others are going to perceive you, that's been a big thing for me, that
Yeah.
it's hard, putting yourself out there, creating this new thing. You're really the only person that truly sees that vision and believes in it. And you might be around people who are like, no, like, who are you to be doing that? Or, that's not stable. That's not gonna work. And you really have to be that one person who truly believes and keeps going and drowns out that noise, because it's rare to find people who will be like, I so believe in you type of thing. And when you find those, definitely feed off that energy. But
Yeah.
it's hard, especially at the very beginning, when you don't have the proof per se of, hey, I'm making this happen. It's very new. It's difficult. So that's definitely a challenge, but something that's worth pushing through.
No, and I agree with what you said, especially on. But one of my biggest things that kept me going on this journey, because there was times, or there is times still. I wouldn't say there was times, but there's times where you think, okay, is this even gonna work? Am I wasting my time? And I think it's the times when you push through that is where more blessings will fall through. As long as you have one person believe in you, you can get another person and another person. So that's one thing that kind of always, um, drove me. Even I had to make a big decision of, sacrificing what I had worked on for the past 3, 4 years, with football and everything, and a scholarship, or sacrificing that for Godson, which was really a baby at the time. So that was another big choice I had to make. And knowing that I had a few people who really loved and believed what we were doing is what made me make that sacrifice. Because I was like, well, who am I to give up on those people who already invested in your craft or your passion? So it's also not looking at, okay, how many people I can gather, but it's how many people who already believe in what we're doing. So I think everything is kind of leading back to your perspective. That's why I believe perspective is everything.
Yeah, it really, really is.
Mm-hmm.
The doubt along entrepreneur journey, I think is something that all of us face at, one time or another, or many times. But in my experience, like, to truly make something work, you have to have that full belief in yourself. You have to be all in on your vision, on your journey. You can't be half in. You have to go like all in, fully, kind of almost have like this this strangely strong belief in yourself that other people won't understand, and that is when beautiful things can happen.
No, I 1,000% agree. I think you said it the best way it could have been said. And I think we look to the validation of others a lot, especially in the days of social media where everything is running. 24/7, and we're always comparing. But like I said, it's all just perspective. I think this life is what you make it. I
Yeah.
know this life is what you make it. You know, it's,
Yeah.
it's everything you do day in and day out that can lead to that your bigger goal, your bigger vision.
Yeah. Yeah. And I don't know about you, but along my entrepreneur journey, I've found that the one thing that holds me back is my own mind, my own, it's my own beliefs. It's my own, limits that I'm placing on myself and the mindset that I bring to things. And it's not so much that I don't have the access to learning and mentors and how to do things better. It's my own limiting beliefs, and that's hard to work through. But it's part of the journey. You have to grow in order for your business to grow. It's like your business is directly correlated to your own personal growth.
I
And
like that because it's true.
yeah, because it's so true. It's so hard. Entrepreneurship is so hard. Growing a small business, it's a reflection of you and your growth. And so, you have to keep growing. You have to keep working on yourself. And then, the impact you're trying to make, that reflects back from the work that you're doing on yourself.
No, yeah, 1,000%. Like, I think one thing I feel what you said that stuck out to me is like that self-development, because it's not like you can grow a business without growing yourself, like how you said. So you
Yeah.
see, these daily tasks like working out and making sure, okay, what am I feeding? Not only, I believe diet is everything from what you read, what you watch, what you listen to. Because if you're constantly listening to negative things, you're going to be negative. But if you're constantly listening to positive things, you're going to be positive. It's just always what you take in, and it will show on the outside the fruits of your labor.
Yes. Yes. Taking care of yourself, especially like for me, that's been the biggest thing, that when I'm going through a season of struggling with my own habits, my own health and fitness, that's going to reflect in how I show up for my own, health and fitness coaching business.
Right.
So it's really crucial for me to, make sure that I'm putting myself first so that I can pour into others and show up how I know I can be at my fullest and best self. And yeah, diet, I love that. Diet is everything. It's not just what you're consuming food wise, but media wise. Who are you following on Instagram? What are you consuming on a daily basis? Is it the news? Is it constant fear driven stuff? Or are you, maybe reading books or learning from, people on the internet, mentors who are at a place where you want to be? And also who you surround yourself with. I think that's a huge one, is who are you surrounding yourself with? Is it, people that are supporting you and helping you, or is it people who are bringing you down and being negative?
Right. And I like to touch on that. One of my favorite things to be is transparent. So I like how we're talking about the ups and downs and the struggles, because it's not going to just be a straight line. To be honest, if it's a straight line all the way to the top, you should be scared because when something knocks you off, you're not going to know how to handle it. I think that's why entrepreneurship is such an awesome journey, because you're going to have the ups and downs and the curve to the right and the curve to the left, and you might go down for a month, but that's ultimately what's going to hold you up when you're at that mountaintop. So
Yeah.
I love it. So it's true. It's not like, my journey with Godson has been the easiest thing in the world, and I just got here, because I would be lying. It's been nights where I was thinking, okay, is this gonna work? Should I go back to school? You know what I mean? And a lot of these hidden moments that make what we're doing, or what we're doing today, what it is.
Yeah. You have those moments of doubt and you start thinking, oh, should I go back to school? Should I, should I do this? And it's hard to, you have to have that full belief and conviction that what you're doing is your long-term path. And just what you said, challenges are what build you. That's what that's what forms you into having the character, the confidence that you do in business, is how you approach challenges. And the more challenges you're solving, the more confidence you're going to build in yourself and be able to grow. And entrepreneurship is actually, when you think about it, it's just solving problems. When you solve some problems, then new bigger problems come up, and then you solve those, and then new bigger problems, different bigger whatever problems arise, and then that's the challenge, is how can we solve that. And it's really interesting to look at it from that perspective. I think it can make it feel less like you're doing things wrong, and just more like, all right, this is the path, this is how things go, and that's how we grow.
No, I love that. It's another thing to kind of summarize what we've been talking about. Like, the obstacle is the path. That's one of my favorite quotes so far I've been running with, because I recently just ran into another obstacle like a month ago, and I was like, man, as soon as everything kind of starts to go right, it goes left. But I know, okay, when it happened, I was like, I've been here before. And I kept saying that. I was like, I've been here before, so now I know how to handle it. I know how to move in it. And a lot of things in business, like you said, in entrepreneurship, business and personal, you kind of have to take yourself out of it and look at the bigger picture a lot of the times. And you have to realize that what you're doing isn't even for you at the end of the day, and it's for others. So if you don't show up for the other people, it's not good. So
yeah. The obstacle is the way. Have you heard of Ryan Holiday?
Is that a speaker?
He's a writer. He has a book called The Obstacle is the Way.
No, it's very true. Like, when I saw that and what I was going through, it really opened my eyes, and I was like, okay. It kind of gave me the extra battery that I needed at the time to just, okay, it's not the end of the world. And it's fun, but it's also scary, because when you're in those moments, it seems like the world is over, but it's really not. It's just like, it's all in your mind. It's all in your mind.
It is really, it is like extremely scary. And like you said, you have to take a step back. You have to zoom out, because when you think about it, we're really early on in our entrepreneur journeys. We're like both 2 years in, basically.
2 years.
Yeah. So like about, 2+ years in, that's nothing, right? Like, there's people, they've been in business for 10, 20, that's who we're looking at and comparing ourselves to. And then, we're so early on. And so just, coming back to that perspective for me has been really helpful, because, you see everyone online, and you see where they're at, you see people winning, and it's so awesome. And it can sometimes feel like, oh, that's all you're seeing. You're not seeing all of the years, the work that's been put in, the grind, the doubt, the challenges, everything. So, we all definitely struggle, but it's just about honestly not stopping and not giving up.
Right. No, that's the key, and that's the motto. It's like, people will see you winning, but they fail to comprehend how much you had to lose to get there. And it's a lot of risk, and it's a lot of just making these silent, hidden moves that will lead to something bigger. So it's fun. Like, there's a lot of things right now, even moments in my career so far, it's like, okay, we did this, but it was a long, long amount of long term of decisions that got me to that one big win. So there's been a lot more. There's been a lot of wins, and there's been a lot of losses, but that's what makes it awesome.
Yeah, it's a big risk for a big reward, right?
Yeah, of course, exactly.
Yeah, so cool. Anything else entrepreneur wise that we were just kind of dropping some heat there for any any entrepreneurs listening? I hope that was valuable. That was even helpful for me to kind of like talk some things out. So
no, of course. I think no matter what level you get on, like you said, there will always be a new problem. But I think when you stop having problems, that's when you stop growing. because problems are
Facts.
growing. And it's kind of, even to get deeper, it's like pain is a sign of progress. Like, even if you look at the trajectory of God's son, it's first started from something that was painful, but now it led into something that was beautiful. So not just to say, what we're doing with the brand, but if you can take that and apply it to, you know, whatever else you're working on, whether that's school or music or fashion or styling, I believe um, you will go far.
I love
Because
that.
if you
Yeah.
don't stop, if you don't stop and you don't give up, there's no other option. It's kind of like how I previously said, if you're at a low place and you just keep working, the only way you can go is up. It's kind of a different mindset, like I said, but I think if you can really establish that, a lot of beautiful things will happen for you.
Yeah.
We're really early on, so it's not the end of the world as much as we think it is. It's just a lot of different moments that will lead up to that big report.
Exactly. Exactly. A lot of this is playing the patience game. And yeah, kind of zooming out and just continuing to push ourselves. And what you said about when you stop having challenges, problems to solve, that's when you stop growing. I think that is so true and can apply to pretty much every area of life. Like looking at where are you comfortable, and if you have a goal, if you want to see yourself somewhere else, how can you lean into and step into the next hard thing, the next challenge is going to take you to where you want to go. So whether it be fitness, or maybe your entrepreneurship journey or your career, or you're building with your relationships, having hard conversations, those challenging things are what's going to help you grow.
Mm-hmm. And like I 1,000% agree. Everything you're saying right now is on the nail. But even it's like being transparent and being, a lot of this, like you said, is problem solving, but it's being transparent and then also having that key factor of communication. You're gonna have to talk about the rough times and the bad times and the good times, but you don't always want to focus on the good times because a lot of us are going through, you know, negative thoughts and bad times, and that's what more of the journey is than the positive. So I think, being in a place right now where it's growing and it's elevating, it's day by day with God's grace. I just want to be as transparent as possible and know, okay, I'm here now, but it's not always been a sweet, jolly road.
Yeah.
Obviously sweet at times, but more, more. I can't speak right now. More than that, more. I don't know what I'm trying to say. More than necessary, or more than less. That's what I'm trying to say. More than less, it's been kind of to the left, and it's been kind of, cloudy and dark at times. But that's what leads to that sweet moment, so you can actually handle it and enjoy it the right way. And when you get that blessing, you're not going to be careless with it because you know what it was like on the other side. So it's beautiful.
Yeah. Yeah. And I love that. Having that transparency, I think, is so important in any sort of journey, especially when you are building a community online, social media presence. It's really easy to just share the highlights, right? That's what we want to share on social media, is our best moments, our wins. And we don't always want to share the struggles. But I think that once you get through a hard season, you overcome something, you learn a valuable lesson, I think it's really important to share that, to have that vulnerability, to help others avoid, overcome those things, because more people are struggling than it looks like,
Yeah.
than you think, based on their social media.
Right.
So definitely having that vulnerability is key, and something that I'm working on sharing more myself. And I definitely want to do with this podcast is having this long form space to talk more about my struggles, and not just entrepreneurship, yes, but health and fitness journey. I think
Yeah, I mean, to answer your question, to flip the script, if you would like, what has been something you've been struggling with, you can say, on your health and fitness journey, or your entrepreneur, anything in general, um, Because, yeah.
Yeah. Oof. Okay. There's like a lot. There's any, what direction do I want to go here? I mean, on my health and fitness journey, I'd say my biggest struggle has been my nutrition, my relationship with food.
Mm-hmm.
That started off really rocky. I started my journey way restricting, under eating,
Mm-hmm.
and that led into, binge eating tendencies. That left me feeling so defeated and so lost and confused. And that's
Mm-hmm.
ultimately, though, what drove me into, obsessing about learning about human behavior, about nutrition,
Mm-hmm.
and figuring out, all right, how can I change and better myself here. And so that led to a lot of growth. But then, the next challenges come up with food, which is then, emotional eating, using it as a coping mechanism, just, or leaning into that all or nothing mindset of the effort mentality, where, if I wasn't totally on it with my nutrition, I would be totally off. And it's been a lot of growth with coming to that middle ground. And so for me, my biggest struggle has been the food aspect. And a lot of it actually, it stems back to my relationship with my body, which
Mm-hmm.
I've had a lot of growth with,
Mm-hmm.
as well as looking at my life and seeing where do I have joy in my life. There was a period of my time where it was like I was going through a hard season. There was not a lot of joy. And so my dopamine hit would be food. And I was so confused. I was like, I've done all this work on my relationship to food. I've gotten myself to a really great place, and it feels like I'm going backwards. What is wrong with me? What is happening? But I wasn't including enough joy in my life. And that was actually a really cool lesson to learn, is that, I think it's really important to make sure that you are not just, doing the hard things, grinding, but really looking at, all right, where do I have joy in my life, and how can I add more that are, things that are joyful and that are positive, that are great, and not things that are going to hurt you, like, overfeeding your body with food that you don't necessarily need.
Yeah. No, thank you for sharing that, because it kind of brought another uh, thought into my mind, because it's like, on when you're doing something of your own, and entrepreneurship as well, there's no really true fine blueprint. You can ask, say, a mentor, and they can guide you and lead, but that's their situation. And I was in their shoes. So with this, it's all in your own shoes. And I think a lot of this is being critical. You have to be critical with what you're doing, and kind of like what you said, you've been, you struggle with that, but the biggest thing I heard from it is that you grew from it. So it's kind of always circling back to that. The pain will make you grow. It just really does suck when you're in that dark moment, and it feels like everything is over, but it's really not. And I think if we can take from, every L and turn it into a lesson, and kind of develop it into that W, um, it leads into something that's big and beautiful. So that's why, like, I really do thank you for sharing that, because you do kind of have to be not too critical, but you do have to be critical at the same time. So it's, where do you find that middle ground of, okay, I'm not being too hard on myself, but I'm not being too less on myself. And I really do believe one of the beautiful things about it is, like, how much you can do. If you're working hard. If you're slacking off. And as long as you're doing like something 1% better each day, I think you're winning. I think that is what winning is being consistent, and being real, and being intentional. Because there is no blueprint to this. So like how you said, to any entrepreneur watching, I'll say that's the biggest thing. And don't, like, it's not going to happen overnight. We all want this overnight success and wake up with 1,000 orders and everything. But say you do get that big when you're looking for that big, whatever your end goal is, say if it comes tomorrow, you wouldn't even be able to handle it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And this what goes back to the those lessons and those L's, because that's what builds you to be able to handle that big blessing. So I think it's all just tests.
It is. It's all tests. And you're so right. Like if we have this idea, we want this specific success, if that comes here tomorrow, are we that person that's ready to handle that? And oftentimes the answer is, no.
No, yeah, it's true. Because we would mishandle it. It wouldn't go right. And you see a lot of these, not even to compare, but you see a lot of people who, you can say in the music business, for one, the music industry, they get this one hit, but they don't know how to handle it when all that comes because it came so fast. But if you've been grinding, you can look at somebody like Jack Harlow. I like his story a lot because he's been working on music, for 10 plus years. And now we see, just to name somebody who's, doing well in the industry, now we see him and he's handling it very well because he's worked up to that point. My friend met him in Kentucky when he was passing out like his mixtape, and now you see him, doing, award shows, and you always see him in the media and stuff. It's like, okay, he can handle that now because he's went through, a lifelong of lessons. So I think if you it's all how you look at it, and I like looking at music industry and fashion and different designers and different coaches and mentors and looking at their story, because if you go talk to them about, say, if you ask them when they were 20, they'll tell you their timeline at that point, and you'll see, okay, I'm on the right track. As long as you know you're on the right track and you're not, BSing it, you'll be fine. You'll make it. I promise.
Yeah.
You'll be fine.
It's so true. And brief intermission to share with you my all-time favorite supplement company, Legion Athletics. They are an incredible brand, been using their products for coming up, I think 3 or 4 years at this point. They are 100% natural products using clinically effective ingredients and doses. Overall, taste is amazing. Actually helpful supplements. You don't need supplements to build muscle, lose fat, and get healthy, but the right ones can help. That is on the front of their website, and that is a reason I love them so much, is they are transparent, honest. Everything is science-backed, and nothing is hidden or in these weird blends that supplement companies often do. So if you want to save 20% on your first order, use code AnnaC. If you're a returning customer, that code gives you double rewards points. Now, enjoy the rest of the show. When people win the lottery and, they blow it all, that shows us that when you don't have these skills, the financial literacy, you don't know what to do with it. And so that ties back into like where we're at now. Is it's going to be a gradual journey, and it has been, for both of us, and for any small business owner, entrepreneur, it's sometimes, it's a blessing having these challenges, and it really does all tie together what we're talking about. When I talk about my food struggles, that's what's led me to what I do now and helping others and being a better coach because of it, because I've gone through all of these challenges and these experiences. That is what's led me to, be able to help people in the way that I do and can. So I love how, all these different, tangents, side stories, it really all ties back to the obstacle is the way, the challenge, the pain. And it doesn't mean that you're doing anything wrong or that, things aren't meant for you. It's that these are the tests. These are what's showing up, and that's God, the universe, whatever you subscribe to is saying like, hey, do you really want this? And are you going to lean into these challenges? Are you going to learn from this? Because you need to learn those lessons. You need to go through the struggle in order to have that success that you want.
Yeah, great. And it's more like, don't stop before you're so close to that diamond. And a lot of this sounds like, it's pressure at times, but that's what makes diamonds is pressure. Even if, I don't know if you've seen this picture, but there's a guy on top and he has a pickaxe and he's mining for the diamonds. And then he's turning around when he's so close. He's just one more hit. The other guy he went the whole way and he got a whole bunch of diamonds now. It's
Yeah.
the same thing we're talking about. It's just don't stop before you're so close. And
Yeah.
that's it's a lot of I keep saying beauty because it's beauty because how do you know when you're close? It can be that one video or that one photo, that one photo shoot or that one product or that one reel or that one TikTok. It's just that one. It takes one moment, especially in this day and age. What has given me a lot of confidence is when even when I first started Godsent, like I said, I related a lot to music. If you see somebody who's working on music, they have to be there physically. We have the advantage and the blessing of posting online whenever we want to many people across the world. So even if you compare to somebody, I don't like to compare too much, but we do live in an age of comparison. I'll be lying if I said I don't compare at times. So I'm saying even if you compare to somebody 20, 30 years from now, they didn't have social media. If they wanted to sell clothes or, get their program out, they were outside, physically. We have physically and digitally. So if you can use that both to your advantage, I really don't see a way you can fail.
Yeah. We are in the coolest time. It's so crazy. I'm so grateful for the world that we live in. We have access to literally anything you want to learn. You can learn on the internet for free, basically anything. And I quickly realized that, and that's another reason I did not continue my being at college, as I was learning, oh my gosh, I can learn all about business. I can hire these mentors. I can learn from these people who are where I want to be. And I'm finding all of this amazing information online through books, through podcasts. And so, with what I wanted to do, it just made the most sense to, lean into that. And we just have such a cool age that we're living in. The opportunity of, having social media online world, it's really incredible and something to really acknowledge.
It's a blessing to make income off your laptop when working when COVID hit, when started working remote. It's like these are things that did not exist, years back. So now that we're in that age, and sometimes you do take it for granted, but like I said, when you really take a step back and see what's going on, you're like, we're winning,
Yeah.
We're winning a lot.
Yeah, it's awesome. So grateful for, just where just the out of all of the chances in the universe of where you could have been born into and where you could have been or who you could have been, like, just really grateful for the opportunities that we have.
Likewise, no, it's true. For us, it's been exciting and a different time frame we're moving in, or a different timeline we're moving into with what we've been working on with Shop Godsent and kind of the personal aspect and the storytelling through designs on there, but also getting into something that we're working on too, is the athletics wear. And I'm very excited for that as well. As I said, I was very active. I stay in the gym, playing football. So even playing these sports and making a whole separate line and brand for that way of life, which it's a lifestyle, is very exciting to bring, Godsent Athletics into the mix of what we've already been doing. And I'm very excited to see that grow as time goes on. But yeah, it's beautiful knowing that you can essentially make, an income off your thoughts, because that's what it is at the end of the day. And I don't even like to say it's my thoughts. I like to say it's God's, giving me the vision and the direction to do this and do that. So I always take myself out of the equation because I know it's not for me. And that's why I believe Godsent is very different. It's something I know it is worldwide. It's just going to keep growing, but as it keeps growing, I have to grow with it and realize that, okay, it's not me, Ethan Larte. I'm just kind of the messenger for, the vision and the direction.
Yeah, I'm so excited to, see where things go. You guys have to check out Godsent. Go follow, Ethan. Tell us where they can find you. Tell us your website, your Instagram handles. It has been an amazing, amazing conversation with you. And tell them where they can find you.
You guys can find me at Shop Godsent. That's our brand page on Instagram, and that's on everything as well. TikTok, Instagram, Facebook at Shop Godsent. That's our website as well, shopgodsent.com. If you want to follow me personally, it's at Ethan Larte. Ethan E.T. Larte.
Did I say that wrong?
It's fine. A lot of people say Lardy, which is it's okay. But Ethan Larty on Instagram. Yeah, that's where you can stay updated if you want to stay and stick along for the journey. But no, thank you a lot for having me. It's been a pleasure.
Yeah, thank you for coming on. That's really funny. I messed up your last name. I was thinking about that earlier. I was like, I'm gonna ask him how to say it just to make sure, but I was like, no, it's definitely Lardy.
It's always fun.
Alrighty, thank you, Ethan. Have a great rest of your day, and everyone else as well.
Thank you. Be safe.
Bye.